Welcome in. It is day 225, and you're speaking to the Meeples Champion. And today we're going to be jumping into a special little game. I haven't played it since about 4 to 5 years ago, before COVID. It feels older, even though it's actually not that old. The game is called Age of Civilization. Now, I'm actually going to do something I don't often do in this, and what that is, I'm going to have to be using the rule book for a little bit of my explanation. And the reason for that is that the game's a lot bigger than it seems, and it actually was surprising to me prepping for this video that I was going to need a lot more work to get it done, and I made the decision, all right, you know enough, there's a little section you're going to need some help with, just pull the rule book out during it. See, the game, even though it's small, is actually something that, if they wanted, they could have made this a sprawling game. There's a lot going on here. They just did a really good job of condensing it, getting it into something small for a box. It's very impressive and good of them because they saved themselves loads of cost on their side and loads of cost on our side. Now, the concept of the game is that in 6 rounds, you have to score the most points. You're doing this by, you're picking a civilization card, and then you get to have the choice of up to 10 different actions. Now, usually during the game, unless you have something special going on, you only have 6 actions available to you. And the concept is you're really working off of your money, your victory points, your workers, and your cards. Now I'm going to bring this over real quick, and we're going to just talk about those 10 different actions. Because you have the ability, for instance, to farm. It's going to be 2 workers, you're going to get 3 coins. Or you could trade, or you could fish. You could go hunting, which not only gives you a coin, but if you don't have a technology card yet, it gives you a victory point. You could conquest. You could build, which gives you points. You can culture, which gives you points. You can exploit. You can research, which not only gains you a point, but it gains you a technology card. And then you have the wonder, which costs you a worker and 7 coins, so it's not cheap, but it gets you the 3 points and you gain a wonder. So this is a really nice little balance because throughout the game, you're balancing essentially. The cards are giving you special abilities or whatever they may do. But at the end of the day, what you're balancing is how many workers do you have to be allowed to go do turns? How much coins do you have to spend to get the cards or do the actions? And where are your victory points, which is what's going to win you the game. And you only have 6 rounds to do this in. So you've got to be prepared because at the end of that game, 6 rounds are up and you've got to see who has the most points. It's a nice little system. It's well built and it runs real smooth. I really think that the game is impressive for what it put together. And it didn't grab me initially. But the game, by the time I was finished with it, we immediately played a second game because I was like, this was better than I thought it would be. Well, that's just the basic introduction. Why don't we jump into our 7 categories and see where this game lands for us today. When it comes to the art, I mean, like I said, I wasn't excited initially. The box didn't sell me. I don't think this box is horrible, but it's not selling me. It's not making me excited to go play what's inside the box. But it isn't making me go like, oh my God, that's going to be for kids. Or, oh my God, that's horrible. Like, they must not really care. It's not a bad box. It's just not good. It doesn't sell you the game. And when you open the game up, the game's much like the box. It's blandish. But at the same time, it's not offensive. It's not insulting. It doesn't feel childish. It's fine to play. It just doesn't grab you. So if I'm walking around a convention, if I'm walking through a board game store and somebody's playing the game, my eyes aren't drawn to it. Same as going through a board game store or convention and it's on a wall. My eyes aren't drawn to the box. For that reason, thumbs down on that art. Components. So you got a bunch of cards, which are the smaller kind of cards, but they're well done. Got to give them good credit there. And then there's a lot of wooden components. The components for the different workers for every person, for your coins, which are actually, coins are the only component that is cardboard in the game. And then you've got things for victory points. I think the components are fine for this game. It's condensed. There's a lot in there, but it's well put together. It definitely, they invested there. Thumbs up. Your price. So this game is about 30 to 40. The question is, what are you getting for a game? Are you getting a game that's worthwhile at 30 to 40? I think that you're definitely getting a game that you can enjoy, but are you getting a game that you can play? And so this might get into a future area a little bit, but it's that replayability that matters. It's a small game. You're buying this for that cost because you expect it's an easy setup and an easy play. It is, but unless you have a smaller collection, I don't know if you're going to get the full use of it. So I think that the price is good for the game, but not good for the replay. And so for that, I have to give it a thumbs down. Your difficulty. It's not that difficult. I know I had to pull out the rule book, which I never do, but that's more so because I don't own the game. I haven't played in a long time, and trying to quickly memorize those 10 different actions was a little bit hard this morning on my mind. So I just was like, it's fine to pull out the rule book. In general, I picked up the big game pretty quick while playing, and I think that when you sit down with a few people and you play through, you play one preparation game, and then the second game is the real competing game, and then you're good to go. As long as you're playing it repetitively, you're not waiting months or years in between, you're probably fine to play this game and be good every time forward. Now, where does it land though? I think experts can enjoy it. I don't think they're going to run away. And I think experienced can enjoy it. I think kids, this is too much for. And I think beginners, well, I don't think this is too difficult. It is not a beginner's game. This is at least a level above beginners. So they're out. But if you're getting the experience and the experts in, that's enough. I'll give it a thumbs up. Replayability. We just discussed that. I think the game can be replayable for some people a lot. But the realistic area is if you're getting this into the experienced and the expert players' collections, they're going to have a big collection, and this game will fall to the wayside. It's not going to be the one you're choosing on a regular basis. There's a lot other small games I'll pick before it, and there's a lot of the big games I'll pick before it. So for me, replayability for this game is thumbs down. Keys to victory. You have plenty. Those are the 10 actions. That's all your keys to victory. Which action are you going for? Are you building up money? Are you building up your tech cards? Are you trying to get more experience points early, or are you building up an idea for a chain to get them late? Are you working on getting more of your ability to get out workers? What are you doing? I think that this game has a lot of options, especially since you have so many civilizations to choose from at the start of that game, which will help you to really direct how you start out the game. You're not talking about 5 or 10. You're talking about there's got to be a good few dozen in there. I think there's plenty of replayability. Thumbs up. Unique. Is the game unique? So, well, I think it's great that they got into a small box. And while I think that it is a game that has a lot of potential in it, it reflects to me a lot of these Age of Civilization style game buildups. My Progress of Evolution in Technology game has kind of the tech tree type setup. This one's following kind of the same concept of like you're building your villages when you're putting out your farms, or you're trading, or you're doing your fishing. You're going to war. You're building up your techs. You're getting your wonders. There's so many games that clash into this, and the overall feel of the game is generally that. It's smaller, which is great, but we've seen games like this. It's not that unique. So I have to give it a thumbs down. Overall, what do I think? I think this is a nice little game. I think it's definitely one that if you want to add it to your collection, I don't think there'd be any issue by anybody with that. You want to make sure that it's one that's going to fit your group, and you're going to want to make sure that it's a game you feel like you can actually play. But because it's not too big and because it's not too expensive, you don't have to freak out if you only can play this a couple times a year, because that's all right. I have some games in my collection that I know I'm only going to play maybe once or twice a year. I have too many games to be able to play every game every year. And I have too many games to be able to say, I love that game, and then say I played it 10 times in a year. It's not going to happen. But what I do have the ability to say is that I have a game I love, and I can play it when I want to. And I think this might fall into that range for some people. So don't be afraid to go drop your money on it. Just make sure it fits you, your group, and your situation. Well, it has been day 225. We've been speaking about the game Age of Civilization. And you've been speaking to the Meeples Champion. Like, share, subscribe, and check down below in the description. I'll be adding an Amazon link in case you want to get this game for your collection. Until next time, I'll talk to you tomorrow.